Tree and Family Dollar are closing 1,000 stores starting this year. Hey folks, how's it going? So, Dollar Tree purchased Family Dollar back in 2015 for somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 billion. Now, some articles came out in the past week that Dollar Tree and Family Dollar will be closing approximately 1,000 stores. They didn't list what stores they were, only that they were going to be closing somewhere around the neighborhood of 600 Dollar Tree stores in the first half of this year, and then an additional 300 to 400 Family Dollar stores over the next couple of years. Why are they doing this? Well, the numbers came out for the final quarter of 2023, and Dollar Tree posted a net loss of $1.71 billion. Okay, so they purchased Family Dollar for $8 billion 10 years ago. They got hit by the pandemic, which sent a lot of people shopping cheaper stores. Inflation encouraged that. It moved a lot of consumers away from name brand goods, high-end stores into the lower cost market. And Family Dollar and Dollar Tree are known to be frequented by lower income communities, people that are looking to save money. But there's more to it than that, because you would think with high inflation, the price of goods going up continually, or at least staying high and not going back down, you would think that as more and more customers move away from the name brand markets and go to these cheaper alternatives, that business would be good. Unfortunately, when Dollar Tree purchased Family Dollar, there were apparently a lot of financial issues going on. They inherited a big mess, apparently. And then, you know, we had the pandemic, we had inflation, we had war and all this stuff. And the rising cost of goods, the rising cost of transporting those goods to the stores, coupled with an excessively high amount of loss due to theft. And then these underperforming stores, they just posted a net loss of $1.7 billion for a 3-month period. Now, no company, no store can maintain that. That is completely unsustainable. Unlike our federal government, where they can just print whatever money they want and keep spending and spending and spending, businesses have to make a profit. And once they start losing money, especially at this level, they have to make changes. I did a little research. Back in August of last year, they had announced that they were going to institute new policies to combat shrinkage or loss. And these included moving certain products behind the counters, putting some products under lock and key and glass cases, and even removing certain products from certain locations where there was a high trend of those items being stolen. Apparently, all of those attempts to reduce the loss due to theft failed, because, you know, continuing to lose money, continuing thefts, continuing price increases, there's only so much that they can do. So they've announced they're cutting 1,000 stores, or they're shutting down 1,000 stores. Now, what they announced was 600 stores will be closing in the first half of this year. Okay, we're already closing in on the end of the first quarter of this year, so that's in the next 3 months. That's either already happened or in the next 3 months. The other 300 to 400 stores that they were talking about was a combination of Dollar Tree stores and Family Dollar stores. They're talking about simply closing once the leases expire. So they're going to keep them open until the leases expire and then close them or rebrand them. Now, I don't know what they're going to rebrand them as or how that's going to work. They did state that they were going to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $594 million to close or rebrand these stores, which is going to pretty much eliminate any profit this company made over this past holiday season. So they're in big trouble as a company. Why am I bringing this up? Well, in an interview with a mainstream media source, and again in a hearing held in front of Congress, Janet Yellen said to both that some of these high prices are not going to go away. They're not going down. They're going to continue to be high. Some will come down, but most will not. But in her words, they don't have to come back down because wages are up. Which is ridiculous, because although some jobs did get a wage increase, namely the ones that were making under $15 an hour, a lot of them, per the $15 an hour minimum wage movement, got a boost. But that minimum wage increase did not affect people making $15, $18, $20 an hour. And you might think, well, $20 an hour, that's a lot of money. Well, it depends on where you live. In a lot of places, $20 an hour after taxes is not that much. You're still only making $40,000 to $50,000 a year, assuming you don't make any overtime. So in some areas that would be a lot of money. In other areas, you're still in the below poverty, or you're still extremely poor. The reason I talk about this article is because they know prices are not going to come down. They've said as much. And they don't think it's an issue that they need to address because wages are up, which is a really colorblind answer, if you ask me, because it just shows that they have no real understanding of what people are dealing with. So a lot of these Family Dollar and Dollar Tree and stores like them tend to be most common in lower income communities. And in a lot of places, it's the primary source for groceries. I don't know what that is. In a lot of lower income communities, this is your primary source for groceries and necessaries. And if you remove these stores, that's going to create what they call a food desert. People are not going to have that resource close to hand, so they're going to have to drive farther in some cases just to get to a place where they could buy groceries. That means they're going to be paying slightly higher prices in a larger city or town, or they're going to have to be driving longer distances, burning more expensive gas. But there's a flip side to this. Let's just say, how many people work in a Dollar Tree or a Family Dollar? Okay, they're not open 24/7, so you figure 2 or 3 people per shift, maybe a morning shift, a night shift, or maybe, I'm not sure exactly how it works. So let's just assume there's 3 people per shift. You got 2 shifts, that's 6 people per store, maybe 8 or 9. Well, if you multiply that by 1,000 stores, you're looking at anywhere from 6,000 to 9,000 people suddenly out of work. These people are going to be struggling to find new jobs. And keep in mind that these stores are commonplace in very rural, low-income communities. There may not be other jobs available. If there are, it'll be harder to find them. They're probably not going to pay much better than what Family Dollar or Dollar Tree did. So that's 6,000 to 9,000 people potentially out of work on unemployment, unless they can find another job. This is going to be a trend, I think, and I've said it before, that I expect to see accelerate over the next year, maybe even 2 years. The Fed has already said that they want unemployment at a certain level. They want to see people hurting at a certain level before they will start cutting interest rates. Right now, they're just in a holding pattern. You saw how all these economists were getting really, really excited about potential rate cuts coming. And I told you they wouldn't cut them. They wouldn't cut rates. But everybody was getting really, really excited about potential rate cuts coming. And then they ran up the stock market because of that. Well, the Fed came out and said, well, no, we're not cutting rates. We're not raising them, but we're not cutting them. We're just going to be in a holding pattern and continue to watch and wait. I think that watch and wait right now is going to last a little bit longer. They're predicting maybe towards the end of the year the possibility of cutting rates. I'm going to tell you, I'm not an expert. This is just my estimation, my opinion. I'm going to tell you that I think what they're going to do is wait till probably sometime the first of next year before they even start cutting rates. A lot of it's going to have to do with how much unemployment increases, how hot the economy is doing, because right now, even though the economy, to a lot of us regular folks, the economy is not very good, but the numbers, the way they've manipulated them, is skewing the way the numbers look, so it makes it look like the economy is doing a lot better than what it actually is. Unemployment's not where they want it to be, because people that have either been laid off have gone back to work and gotten another job, or they've gone out and got a second job. People that may not have gotten laid off but have had their hours cut, so they went out and got a second job. That makes employment numbers look really, really good. People are having to spend more and more and more money just to buy basic food, and they're having to skip out on luxuries and anything that's not essential. But they're spending more and more money on just the essentials, and because that large amount of money is still going into the economy, that makes that look good. So it gives a false positive outlook, at least to my way of thinking. Again, this is just my opinion, but I think it's going to be early next year, possibly within the first 3 months of next year, before we'll see any rate cuts. I could be wrong. We'll just have to wait and see. Another aspect that I think will play a lot in whether or not they're going to cut rates is the war in Ukraine and with Israel. Whether or not those escalate. If those escalate, that could have some impact on the economy as well. War always affects your economy. Fuel prices started to come down a little bit. Now they're starting to go back up. It's going to be volatile for a little while, I think. But expect this to be a trend as far as these store closings. Expect this to be a trend that will continue, because we've already seen over the past year, starting actually early last year, multiple businesses starting to do layoffs. And again, I told you then, there might be only 300 or 400 or 600 or 1,000 people being laid off at that particular company. Maybe even 80 to 100. It might not seem like much per company, but then when you look at the totality of all the companies that are laying off, it starts to add up. And again, I think this is just a trend that we're going to see. This is going to continue to happen. It's going to happen more frequently, because I guarantee you this is not the only company facing these issues. Walgreens and Walmart and Lowe's, Home Depot, all of these stores have talked about how much they're losing to theft. Some of it's due to self-checkout and other issues. But then they're also coming out and saying, well, we've made a bigger deal out of it than what it actually is, and maybe we cried too much about it because it's not affecting our bottom line as bad as we made it out to be. Okay, they're just trying to backtrack and downplay it a little bit because they don't want their stock to drop through the floor. See, if they start talking about how their company is losing all this money to theft and fuel price increases and product price increases due to inflation, their stock is going to go down because Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, after they made this announcement of this $1.71 billion loss this past quarter, their stock dropped 14%. So you're going to see these companies downplay this, what they've been complaining about all along. They're going to downplay it because they don't want their stocks to drop either, because that would be devastating for these companies. So what can you do about all this? Really, there's nothing. Not directly anyway. This is why I've stressed so much in all of my videos the importance of growing your own food, whether it's just a few vegetable plants in a raised bed, whether it's an actual garden, raising livestock if you can, rabbits, quail, chicken, ducks, whatever. Producing as much food as you can on your own, because that's that much money that you can keep in your pocket. Also, if you happen to lose your job or whatever, that's that much food that you don't have to rely on the government to give you. And when you rely on the government to provide your food, your water, your power, your money, you're submitting yourself to their control. You're basically subservient to the government then. And that's no way for anybody to live. We need to be independent. We need to build independence and self-reliance and self-sufficiency in our own lives. So that's why I stress all of these things. If you're in a place where you can't grow a garden, you can't raise livestock, it's important that whenever you have a few extra dollars, that you stock food as much as possible. Buy canned goods, buy rice and beans, dried foods that'll last a while, long-term storage foods. Even though it's higher cost, it'll last a lot longer, so you can stock this stuff up. Don't just buy randomly and impulse buy. Shop around. Look for the sales on some of these items to help you save money when you can, because some of it can get expensive. But stock food if you can't grow or produce food. Another option is, if you can't produce your own food at home, if you don't have the land to do it, is to network with people that do. Build friendships, build relationships with people that have 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 acres that are raising cattle, that are raising rabbits, that are growing large gardens. Learn to barter with them things that you can make, things that you can provide, skills that you can provide in trade for these items. Trust me, a lot of people out there that grow their own food, they're willing to trade and barter. I certainly am, because I may be able to grow a surplus of 1 or 2 or 3 items, but there's a lot of other things that I can't produce because I don't have the setup for it. And I'm willing to trade whatever I can't produce, whatever I can produce for what I can't. So these are options that you need to be looking into. You need to be building this resilience in your life so that if it does go as bad as what a lot of us think, you're not dependent on the government. You're not waiting for handouts from the government, from food stamps. You're not waiting on any of that stuff, because trust me, that's no way to live. You want to be able to provide for yourself. So that's why I'm bringing this article to you. That's why I'm talking to you about all of these things. And that's why I'm describing things like building these raised beds, these here, my garden out there that I still got to do a lot of work on before I can start planting on it. That's why I do all of this. These are options for you, and you really need to be looking into them and figuring out what works best for you and putting a plan in place. Stocking up on what you can, regardless of where you live. That's all I've got for now. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And as always, folks, stay safe, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. Keep prepping, don't get complacent, and until next time, I'll catch you later.